walked you to death. They walked you to pieces. Right. What is today's lesson? It's got a bit of standing. I taught it at quarter 7, and the quarter 7 one I tried to put them through it, and by the end of it, I wanted to sit down as well. You cook your plans up, like, oh, that would be really good, and then actually when you're doing it, you're like, this is just very tiring. Don't just stop doing it. So yeah, we do an easier version of it, like less intense, I would say. Anyway, so the theme of the lesson, so we had a bit of a variation last week because of the solstice. We did sun salutations and moon salutations. We're back to the theme of Kleshas. So Kleshas are states of mind. So what have we done? We've looked at, I've completely forgotten, I need to read, we looked at ego, that was the first one we thought that we looked at. So who are we? And so to try and get to the bottom of that, in the meditation, we kind of took ourselves to our favourite place and then looked at the person that was there, as opposed to, the roles that we give ourselves and the lists and everything that we give ourselves. I mean, I spend my time constantly thinking about what I'm doing tomorrow. I mean, after watching the Glastonbury Festival, I'm like, oh, I really hope I'm there. I'm actually looking at next year now. I really want to go there next year. What else did we do? We looked at, I've completely forgotten again. I've got no brain. Where's my list of them all? We looked at ignorance, that's it. Different ways of being, that was right. And then this week, I thought we'd look at lust and attachment. It's very similar to something we did the other week, actually. We looked at the 7 mothers. They represent similar things. So, in terms of like lust and attachment, it's like me in a stupid run. I attach myself to trying to get to like under 2 hours on a run. Why? It's so stupid. But we do. We attach, we attach ourselves to certain goals and might not be really all that helpful. And I guess if you try to achieve a certain goal, it could be all consuming, it could actually ruin you. And I think self-love is something I think is something we should look at. Within the Sutras, which is a book that's was written thousands of years ago, and it's like basically it's like a yoga Bible. Basically, it kind of tells you what the goal of yoga is, and it isn't the postures, it's trying to make contact with your mind. But within the sutras, they look at there's a thing called the 8 limbs of yoga, and within the first couple of limbs, it addresses the idea of celibacy. And so, in terms of lust and attachment, I think you could look. I mean, if everybody was celibate, there'd be nobody left in the world, would we? We'd just die off. So it's rather than kind of going around being like, oh, you're nice, I'm just going to go after you, and like lusting after people. What if it just meant to love as opposed to lust after everything? So attaching that to like me and my stupid goals about running, for example. Today I was going to go for a swim, and I thought, no, don't. Look after yourself, love yourself a bit more, don't put yourself through it. So you lust and attachment to your body, rather than trying to beast yourself. Sometimes it's nice to do self-care, and like attaching yourself to, like, I don't know, we've had this discussion with my son this weekend. Somebody gave him £20, my mum and dad did, and he just wanted to spend it. It was burning a hole in his pocket, and it's like, we've got this game, and you're like, have you not just thought of like sitting with it for a little bit and just maybe thinking about, maybe saving it or buying something else? But it was like, no, I want this game. It upset him because we said, think about it. And we attach ourselves to these things that we need, and sometimes it's nice to sit and to appreciate what you've got, maybe. Or maybe, I sort of say, it's my birthday in a few weeks, might you go and buy me a present, is it? Someday and buy, love your mum and buy her a present. But yeah, rather than attaching yourself to things and you're lusting after things, just to appreciate what you've got a little bit. So body and people and what have you. So that's my random thing. I hope I've not lost you. Love yourself.
It's hard though, isn't it, for the youngsters with like social media? I was reading something about that, and when you've got social media, you've got so many things to compare yourself with. I didn't have that, but they've got that, and it's...
Yeah, and I was reflecting to Steve last night, because I think it's really sad he wants to spend money on these games, But like when I was growing up, if I got, I mean, I was like, watching Pet Shop Boys last night on Glastonbury, and that's the first record I ever bought. Somebody gave me a record voucher, and I bought a record. And I said, Steve, they can't buy records anymore because you stream it, you can get it on YouTube. So what can if you give money to people, what can they spend it on? It's ridiculous. It's
actually
instant gratification and grasping and all that. But you know, we're grateful for your class, I think, Zoe. I am.
Oh,
for doing differently.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's just I think it's different. Definitely different for kids these days, and I just don't want to take his joy out of having this money, but at the same time, I'm like, I just don't waste it immediately anyway. So there's the lecture, and so we'll go with the class. So shall we sit up for a change and start the lesson?
Yeah.
So take your legs out in front. We always start with feet, don't we? So rest into your hands and take your awareness out to your feet and start to wiggle. But yeah, I'm saying to him, like, why don't you go out and do something with your friends? Oh, my friends visit. Okay. Why don't you do that? Oh, it's going to be a computer game. But yeah, everything's instantaneous. Yeah, anyway. Changing track a little bit. Okay, so we've done the toes. We'll work our way into feet. So pointing toes, pushing heels away. Social media is evil. I've got to say, like things like Facebook, I go on it just to kind of pass time, but I just stop. I mean, the adverts and some of the stuff. I just say, I just like wash it over me now. Yeah. It kind of feeds into insecurities an awful lot.
Yeah, I think so too.
I should say circle your feet if you start doing it. Okie dokie, so taking this into knees, you could slide one foot in and push it away to take movement into the knees, or do you know what, I'm going to do that because I've got tired legs. The alternative is to bring one foot in and lift it up and down, but like I said, I did that run on Saturday and I can feel it in my quads. Although I would say that this is a good movement if you want to strengthen your legs, like obviously strengthen the structures around your knees, so again you could do that, but if it's too tiring, just do that. I'm going for that one. Although that's not hurting. I can beat myself up. So we'll switch legs. So again, sliding the foot in, or again, you should do what you want. I thought you were doing a kind of a hybrid version of doing the leg. So that is more doable. I don't have to use any effort for that. And I'm buffing my feet at the same time. Okay, so now we've done all that, we can take it into the hips a little bit. So we'll bring the feet in. You can again have your hands on the floor behind if you want to, and bring your knees together and drop your knees out. So, moving still into the hips, we'll take both legs forwards and then we can bring one leg across. And then the opposite leg, slide the foot in a little bit, then you can obviously start to explore the hip. So you can always push the foot a bit further away if it's too much. You could even take the hands under the lower knee and lean in a little bit if that feels more doable. So obviously kind of finding some release into the leg that's crossed. And take your breath into your awareness, into the hip itself maybe. And then you can pick up the foot, pick up the knee, slide the other one away and give it a little bit of a cradle. So I'd go gentle on this. Big movements, it's very easy to kind of like really go far. If you want to go far, then go far, but gentle I think is the answer today. And then we can cross that leg back out, switch to the opposite one. So again, we have those lovely options of resting the knee, lifting the knee, maybe placing the hand under that knee. So like I said, you're going to lean. If you bring your weight forward, you're going to feel some forces going through the back of the knee, hence those hands being there to cushion. Bringing that up. Again, let your breath go back into your awareness. And then collect the foot up, collect the knee up, slide the opposite leg away, and again have a little rock. For me and my friend at the end of the race on Sunday, not Sunday, Saturday, we did a little bit of yoga on the finish line. It's well needed. Okie dokie. So, we're kind of going to hips a little bit. We're going to stay with hips, so we'll go wide knees. And then let's take our focus to our right knee. We're going to drop it inwards. And then I would then have a little look at your right knee. So as your right knee falls inwards, I would go the other way, I don't know why I've just done that. Have a look at your right hip. So think about your right hip, where is it? Is it in line with the knee? Is it behind the knee? Is it in front of the knee? Kind of get it roughly lined up. And then keep taking your hands around to the left, look over your left shoulder, and then you'll feel the right hip can lift a little bit more. It's alright, I was going your way. And then we'll go back. So place your right hip on the floor, move back to centre, taking your knees to the right. So your left knee falls in. So again, have a look at your left knee. Is it in front of your hip? Find a good place for it, and then take your hands around to the right, lifted. And feel your left knee resting into the floor, and again, beginning to find that space in the left hip. And then again, stand your feet up, going the opposite way, go around, and again, take your gaze over the left shoulder. As you're looking over your left shoulder, look up to the ceiling, look down to the floor. So what I love about this is you can get to really feel some beautiful movements releasing into the right side of the neck. You know, look around, play with the sensation you can feel all the way down that right side body, just by moving your head. And then we'll take the hands behind and then go the other way. So again, just take your hands around to the right this time. Keep looking around over your right shoulder, and again look up, look around, feel what you can feel through the neck, into the rib cage, all the way down to your left hip. And then taking your hands back around. I'm sorry, you're going to have to touch the carpet, so you might want to wiggle yourself down a little bit. You're going to place your right hand on the floor and slide it in the direction that your left knee is pointing, and just take your gaze down towards the floor. So your right palm is pressing down into the floor, supporting. Your left hand is somewhere by your left side, supporting. Take your breath into your right wrist, your right elbow, all the way down into your right hip. And then we'll come back up and we'll go the opposite way. So taking the knees across to the, I'm just spin around so I can keep you around to your right. So again, you're going to place your left hand down, slide it in the direction of the knee. So as you extend the left arm out, your right hand is supporting the body, and you're just lowering that forehead roughly down towards the floor. That's it. So I would switch hands, bring that one in, and then the other one reaches there, unless that feels worse. And then settle back to centre. Just take your knees left, take your knees right. And then we're moving into the spine a little bit more. So we've freed up some of the spine just by doing that movement because of its attachments into the spine. So sit comfortably. So again, you can sit with your legs outstretched, your legs tucked under, legs folded. And then bringing your awareness into your pelvis. So just rest your hands on your thighs, your knees, wherever they're comfortable. And then take your focus into your tailbone. Just tuck it lightly under. So if you're sitting with your legs outstretched, you can always have your hands on the floor, and that will help you so you don't fall back. And then tuck your tailbone back to neutral. Tuck it away so you're tilting forwards and your belly comes forwards and your heart comes forwards. And then again, tuck your tailbone under so you're tilting your pelvis backwards, lower back round. And then you're tucking your tailbone away from you behind, and that tilts the pelvis forward, and again, heart grows. So again, you can have your hands behind or hands on those knees. And again, just intuitively go inside, follow what the spine is doing on top of the pelvis. Try not to push too much. But this is one of those movements that, because you know what's coming, you can kind of push into it, and I think it's really nice not to push, but just to follow the sensations naturally. So again, you can even think of this as, reflecting on that idea of lust, lusting after a movement, lusting after sensation. Go with self-love and just kind of feel what feels right. Let go of attachment. Just let the pelvis undulate the spine. And then we shall just take it into a few little more bits for the spine. So we're going to go into a little twist. So taking your right hand around just behind, fingertips to floor. Left hand goes around onto that right knee, and then taking your gaze over your right shoulder. So you're just gently squeezing the right shoulder in. You can think me, I feel this through that left side body, into the left waist, into the left ear. And then spiral to centre, placing your left hand down on the floor. We're going to reach the right hand out, taking the gaze to the finger. Taking your right hand up towards the ceiling, so reach up first, really try to touch this rather attractive ceiling, and then place your left palm down, bend your left elbow and guide yourself over to the left. So keeping your chest forward. If you tend to notice that your shoulders are kind of heavy in front of you, you can always lay that arm down and just experience this just through the spine itself. Okay, so push yourself back to seated. Just for a moment, just rest your hands on your lap and just experience the right side body. And then we're going to take ourselves around to the left. So bringing your left hand just roughly behind. Right hand moves over onto the left knee. Begin to squeeze the left shoulder in to turn the body. And again, from the eye, experience this then down the opposite side, down the right side, into the neck, into the ear, all the way down into the right buttock. Just let your breath fill the back body into the right shoulder. So spiral to face front, resting your right hand on the floor, left hand reaches out. So we'll take the left hand up, reach for the ceiling first, extend, and then bend your right elbow to float over in the opposite direction. So again, you're thinking about this hand, where is it? Mine is kind of in line with the body, so it doesn't really do anything apart from extend. But if you kind of feel a heaviness that pulls in the ribs and in the lower back, it could be tilting. So again, you could just rest the hand on the side, take the weight of the arm away, and then again experiencing this as a side bend. And spreading the movement across the body. You realise just how heavy your torso is because your right arm starts to hurt. Okay, so let's go back to centre. Bringing your hands behind, so we're going to interlace the fingers, gently press the heart forward, squeeze the shoulders together behind. And then we'll take the hands to shoulders and circle. So we've gone through the joints and bones, that becomes points. So we're moving, just making up my own language. I often say, hips and pelvis becomes an Elvis, and bones and joints become points, well done me. So we'll go down into child's pose next. So sit yourself down, and you can support your head if you want to. Make your little fist, let your head rest on your hands. You could always take your hands forwards and see how you feel about lowering your head down. So find the support that you need for your head. But this feels like a pose for self-love, doesn't it? You know, it's just so comforting, that darkness. You can sometimes feel like you're going to sleep like this. So we're going to start to float upwards. So lifting your hips away from heels, dropping your weight into your hands very gently. We're not going to go all the way forwards to start with. Instead, what we'll do is push those hands forwards to guide the hips back towards your heels. Slowly lower down. And then again, gently lift the hips up, round the spine, come into neutral. And then again, use your hands to guide your hips back. Exhale down. Inhale, rising up. And again, exhale, coming back down. Inhale, rising up. Exhale, coming back down. So you're kind of watching your spine go from flexion when your head is in child to neutral as you float your weight over your hands, to going into extension as we go forwards next time. So we're going to slowly begin to lower our hips down towards the floor. So bring weight into hands, let the hips come forwards and exhale. And then inhale, push with your hands to guide your hips back towards your heels. So inhale, float up. Exhale, hips come forward. Inhale, push with your hands. And exhale, coming back down. I don't know if you're doing random things with your feet, but I tend to let my feet go wide in my high cobra. And then as I come back to child, I kind of bring the feet back together. I don't know if you're doing anything like that. Just kind of notice what feels right through your pelvis. So that movement for my feet is just an adjustment for my pelvis to make sure it's not crunching. So we'll take it all the way down the next time. So as we come forwards next time, we shall exhale. And then inhale, bend the elbows and take yourself down. Exhale, slide the nose, rise up, look to the ceiling. And then inhale, push down with the hands. And exhale, come back. Inhale, push up. Exhale, hips come forward. Inhale, elbows bend. And exhale, slide up. Inhale. Exhale. We'll do one more and then I'm prepared for what's going to happen next. Exhale. As we come up onto all fours next time, we're going to bring the foot towards the hand. So I'm just letting you know to prepare yourself. So again, exhale, rise up. Inhale, push up and then go back. And then the next time you come up, we're going to take the right foot towards the right hand. So rising up, right foot goes by that right hand. And then see how you feel about staying down. So we can stay down if that feels better, or we can use that right foot to push ourselves up, taking the gaze upwards towards the thumb. So again, lower might feel better on the hip, it might feel better on the knees, you might be feeling a bit unbalanced, so you can always rest the hands on that thigh, but just concentrate on keeping the spine upright over the pelvis. Still doing the 10 breath thing. Okay, so sinking back down. So just briefly lift your left knee so you can take your right knee back under and float back down into child. So again, we're going to take an inhale, rise up, taking the left foot towards the left hand. So again, into lunge. So again, staying low if that feels better. Or rising up. And again, we can make those little adjustments. Is that your knee? Yeah. So again, you can place hands on thigh if you wish, or again, keep your gaze upwards. So concentrate on keeping the pelvis upright. That feels alright. Okay. Surely that's going to hurt me. We're not staying on in this. We're going to do standing versions of everything else in a second. Okay, so guide yourself down, and then we're going to find our way into a fold. So lift your back knee, and it's a bit of a push off that back foot to step yourself into a fold. So bending, walk your feet out in line with hips, knees a little bit soft, belly starts to rest on thighs, and just really think of letting go through the back of the neck. Let your head feel really heavy. So again, in here you can support yourself, your fantastic actually. Just make sure backs and knees have got a little tiny micro bend in them. Allow your head to be heavy. I'm very interested in feet at the minute. Just sway your weight over your right foot, sway your weight over your left foot. Feel what happens through the feet. Explore what happens through the legs. Maybe even circle your hips a little bit. Again, exploring then what happens in your ankles. Kind of sense what your shin bones are doing in your ankle joints. Notice what your toes are doing to support yourself as you do that little circle of your hips. And then from here we're going to slowly rise up to standing. I've got a head, I've got no head, never have a head. So yeah, the lesson that I did this morning had all these poses, but my big ass in the middle of them, so even to the point I'm thinking I've really gone off in the asa now. So I kept going back into dog every like 2 minutes. So we're going to stand stand in the middle of the mat, doesn't really matter, and we'll take our left foot behind us. And so firstly land your heel, see how that feels. If you find it feels a bit dumpy, doesn't feel like, I don't know, it feels supportive but dumpy. So we're going to turn that left heel away from us a little bit and then lift the heel a little bit. For me, I feel that feels a little bit more supportive. And if you think about when you're walking, you know, there's a push off every time you walk, so I feel like even for the feet. Anyway, hands at heart centre, get a sense of your pelvis staying upright. We're going to begin to push that right knee forward. So just explore, take it forward a little bit, then a little bit further, getting a good awareness of where your ankle is. Try not to go beyond the ankle. You might be sliding that left foot back a little bit. And then if you want to, you can take your hands upward towards the ceiling and just gaze, stay here. We've been here already, I think, for about 4 breaths, so we're staying here for 6 breaths more. So you're pushing away with the left ankle, feeling support of the right foot, breathing down into the left hip. Okay, so we're going to move into the next position. So we're going to push back towards the front of the mat. So a big press with the right foot to step ourselves back to centre. We're going to now take our right foot back, so left foot stays forward. So again, firstly drop the foot and see how that feels. Turn the heel away. So again, you might be happy keeping that foot planted. Lifting the heel if you want to, and then begin to explore bending the left knee, pushing back with that heel. So you want to feel supported, feel the pelvis is upright, taking those hands up towards the sky, and again staying here for those 10 breaths. So we're going to keep coming back to these movements. So what we're going to do is build a flow. So the next time we do this, it's for 5 breaths. So let's push our feet back into the floor, standing back at the front of the mat. We're going to take the left foot back, returning back to that very first pose. So we're going to, again, get our comfort level, push the right knee forwards and push back to the left hip. Staying here for 5 breaths this time. So we're going to go into a twist in a second. So find the stability through the little toe, big toe. Again, ankle over the knee. Feel the stability through that back ball. Okay, so now think about which is your left hand. Bring your left hand forwards and your right hand is going to go back. And you're going to take your gaze, if you can, towards your right thumb, but if not, just somewhere that isn't moving. And the same here now for 10 breaths. Keep pushing out through your left palm. Over, right thumb. So turn the gaze back towards the front of the mat. Big push with your right foot to step back and then taking your right foot back. Bend your left knee, push back with your right heel, 5 breaths. So think about which is your right hand. Take that one forwards and the left hand back. And again, find somewhere that you feel comfortable about gazing at. What I find interesting about this one is what you feel down your right side from your right wrist all the way down to your right foot. And then turning yourself back towards the front of the mat, push yourself back. And then we're switching sides. So we're going to keep alternating between this. So we're going to take the left foot back, land on the ball. And again, taking the right knee forward, push back with the heel. So again, back to pose 1, 5 breaths. Left hand comes forward, right hand goes back. Look again to the side, 5 breaths. You get to realise these are all balances, aren't they, really? Once you get that back heel lifted, you can feel what the feet are doing to support the body. So, the hand that's in front of you, which should be your left hand, turn the palm up. The hand that's behind you, which should be your right hand, drop it onto the back. And then take the left hand up, so a bit of a spiral twist. Squeeze the right shoulder in behind you a little bit to open up the chest further. Please don't fall. And then turn yourself back to the front of the mat, step your feet back together. And then we're going to take the right foot back. That right wrist stays, left foot stays forwards. And again, pushing your left knee forwards, right foot back, sweeping up again, 5 breaths. So your right hand comes forwards, left hand goes back. So your left hand, which is the one behind, lower it down. The right hand that's in front, turn the palm up. Take the right hand up towards the ceiling, and again that little gentle squeeze of your left shoulder to turn the chest. Turn your gaze back to the front, big step. We do eventually change that position, which is now. So we're going to take our left foot back, right foot stays forward, lift the back heel. And then pushing your left knee, your right knee forward, left foot back, taking the gaze again up, the hands up, gaze forwards, 5 breaths. Okay, so taking your left hand forwards, right hand back, 5 breaths. Dropping your right hand down the back body, left palm turns up, take the left hand up, 5 breaths. Turn towards the front of your mat. We're going to take ourselves into a lungy twist type scenario. So we're going to place our hand firstly down on our right thigh, and your left hand is going to come down towards the floor. So come down onto fingertips. Walk your left foot back a little bit if it feels better. And you can keep your right hand on your thigh if you wish, or you can begin to turn your chest and draw your right shoulder back. So if you want to, you can take your right hand and come back towards the ceiling. Turn your body back towards the floor. Shall we step into a fold? I think we should, shouldn't we? So step into fold, rise up to standing. It's more tiring than the other version. So we're going to take the right foot back, left foot stays forward. Bringing hands to heart, we're going to push the left knee forward, taking the hands up towards the sky. 5 breaths. Okay, so taking your right hand forwards, left hand back. 5 breaths. Left hand drops down the back, right hand turns up, take the right hand towards the ceiling, 5 breaths. So turn yourself back towards the front of the mat. So we're going to place the left hand on the left thigh, slide your right foot back a little bit, that will help you get lower. So you can bend that left knee, place your hand on the floor, so again you can always keep that hand on the thigh to keep you nice and stable. So you're kind of thinking of knee over ankle, rest through the bones. But if you wish, draw the left shoulder back, look over the shoulder, and then you might be comfortable about taking that left hand up and spreading the palm. Turn the body towards the floor, step into fold. Might be quite nice just to have a bit of a wiggle of the hips. Because from here we're going to take it into chair pose, I'm so sorry. So we're going to rise up. Not there. We're going to do all that bend in the chair. But I'm not going to make it like that anyway, you'll see. Taking your left foot back. I'm trying to hear you guys, I'm losing it. So you might have enough of being on the ball of your foot, you might be letting that heel go in the floor and just bending that. That might feel nice, you can always adapt that. So again, 5 breaths first pose. Very, very, very loose pelvis as a hook for today. Taking your left hand forward, right hand back, 5 breaths. Taking your right hand down the back, left palm rises up, 5 breaths. It's a random thing, but place your hand on your glutes and the feel of that left glute, which is really good. Moving back to face the front of the mat. So we're going to take this left hand down towards the floor. So rest your right hand on your right knee, the other ankle, hand to the floor. and then twisting if you wish. So you're going that right shoulder back, taking the right hand up towards the ceiling if you feel comfortable. Turn your body towards the floor, and then this is where that chair's going to happen. So we're going to step our left foot under the body firstly. So I'd go with feet under hips. Walk your hands up your shins and rest your hands on your thighs. Start to straighten out your spine. Bend your knees, drop your weight into your chair. So I'm now thinking, where are my knees? Knees are back away from the toes. I'm letting the hands come away, bringing hands to heart. Stay here, sadly, for 10 breaths. So I can feel my toes feel really light. There's lots of weight through the heels and into glutes. Okay, so slowly push down into those legs. We're going to take it into a little balance. So you're resting through your right foot. You're going to take your left knee slightly forward, soften the knee. I've been joking last week that this is like, it's in the newspaper about if you can't do this for 10 seconds, you'll die in 7 years.
I'm not sure I want to attempt it.
I started to read the thing, and I'm like, they'd like in a survey, I have no idea. But see how you feel about that. I'm sure you won't die. So bring your knee up and hold on to the knee. She says, I'm going to die. I've totally lost that one. And then see how you feel about taking that left knee out. Reach out with your right hand for counterbalance. So I think what we didn't do is teach you how to counterbalance. And also take into account like injuries and so on, and wobbly floors and so on. Okay, so we'll take the foot back. Now we won't. We'll step our set back. I was going to take you back into a down facing dog. No dogs in this class. We're moving back to centre. We're going to take the right foot back. And again, you can drop the heel if that feels better. You can lift that heel if that feels where you want to be. Bending your left knee into pose number 1. So again, you can even bend that knee if you really wanted to work, but I don't think you do. 5 breaths. I just like thinking about what that foot is doing for you. Does it feel nice and solid? Can make it feel solid. Thinking then about your right hand, bring it forward, left hand goes back. Lowering your left hand, right hand sweeps up, 5 breaths. Turn back towards the front of your mat. So again, I'm walking that back foot back already so I can lower down. Front hand's going onto the front knee, and then I'm taking that right hand to the floor, staying here, or I'm twisting the shoulder back, looking up over the left shoulder, but I feel secure enough to take the hand up. So turn your body towards the floor, big press to get into that horrible little chair again. So press, step your foot under, have a little bow. Walking your hands up the shins, up to your thighs, straighten your spine, and then bend your knees, drop your weight into feet. Start to lengthen up your spine, bringing hands to heart. Okay, so from here, straighten up, taking your weight into your left leg. So again, think about if you want to balance, you could just lift your toes off the floor and do nothing else, just kind of see how you feel about just bearing your weight, but bring your knee up if you can, placing your hands on the front of the right knee. So for me, I'm hugging that knee in, reaching out with the left hand, taking the knee out a little bit. and then dropping the foot down. Whee. So because we didn't do any dogs in this lesson, we're going to widen out and take ourselves into fold. So take your feet nice and as comfortably wide as you like. I might even just say change your foot positions a little bit. So you might do it with your feet forwards, do it with your feet inwards, play with that as you're in the position. So walk your hands down the thighs. You might be stopping with your hands on your ankles, you might be stopping with your hands on your thighs, you might be stopping with your hands on the floor. Take yourself to where it is comfortable, where you have support. Just check if you've got support in your feet, so it's easy to kind of jump into your hands. So just make sure you've got that support in your feet, that's it. Just make sure the knees are not locked. Lift and spread the toes and then drop those toes back down again, pressing down through the big toes into the floor. So just maybe try that with heels in a little bit. How does that feel to turn your toes out? It changes sensation. For me, I feel like the hips at the front kind of do a little bit less. So when I turn those toes forwards, I can then again feel it in the outer hip. It feels like the bottom widens a little bit. And then I'm going to push the heels out, toes in, and again it feels like the bottom widens a little bit more, and you get sensations down in the calves a little bit more. So play with your feet, turn your toes in, turn your toes out. See how that feels through your hips, into your buttocks, into your calves, all those little places. And then we shall take ourselves down into the floor. So how we're going to do that is, from here, take your hands as wide as your feet. So if you can get fingertips just roughly the floor, you might need to bend your knees to do that. Walk your hands out. Keep your weight in your feet. So you're pushing your hips back a little bit to counterbalance. Hands are coming right out in front. Lower your gaze down towards the floor. So you feel this through the chest a little bit. So again, knees bent if that helps. Weight through the feet, hips are pushing back. And again, let the hand just kind of rest into the floor, releasing into the shoulders. Okay, so we're close to the floor now, aren't we? So drop your hands down, bend your knees, and you're there. Certainly way to get down, isn't it? Oh, lovely. Yeah, a little tougher than the other lesson, honestly. I kept going, the dogs were restful this morning. I thought, oh, by the end of it, we're like burning up, but yeah, the dogs were restful. Anyway, so next thing is I want to play with hips a little bit. So you don't have to sit like me. I think this is comfortable. But if you can sit with your right foot in front of you at the very least. So your left leg can just be lazy and out of the way if it needs to be. But if it can, it's folded. And taking hold of your right foot with your right hand. So I would like a big toe. That's just being weird, or possibly you might be holding the entire foot, whatever feels most secure. Your left hand goes to the floor just behind you, and what I'd like you to do now is just kind of tilt your tailbone under so you can begin to lean back into your left hand. Just kind of feel that left hand is supporting, you've kind of slumped into it. And then I'd like you to kind of push into the floor with that left hand, and you kind of roll back into your sit bones again. So you're going to maybe drop your weight back into your left hand, so round back, and then push your left hand so you're back into your hips. And just do that a few times. Sink back, and again push back. Sink back, push back. I like that, I don't do anything. But we're going to use this hand now. So as you sink back, you can then begin to extend your right leg out in front of you. And then bend your right knee. And think about how heavy the shin is. Let it be heavy. And roll back onto your sit bones. And again, that hand assists a little bit. So again, lean back in and extend. Bend the knee and come back. Lean back in and extend. And again, bend the knee and come back. So we've been doing some twists, so we're going to do another one now. So as you lean into the hand and extend the leg, look to your right and curl your right foot towards your right hip. So that right knee comes towards the floor. The other way, does it not want to do it? You can. Or does it not want to do it? Okay. Just do what? Just come back. Just repeat what you've been doing. Oh, it does. It makes you want to laugh. It makes you want to laugh, do that? I don't get it. Why? Tickling. Okay. That was very. Ooh, I can't feel the laughter, but okay. I know what you mean. It's like tickle. People can stand tickly feet, whereas I like get off. I want to hit you. Right. Okay. So little tiny twist going on at this point. So you could just keep doing the wavy leg. You should be able to do the next one. So from here, we're going to take the foot, lean into the hand, take it back. We're only doing it 2 more times. Bring it back. So again, leaning in. So you can just keep going back doing what you're just doing. There you go. Bring it back. I can't even do it. Lean into your opposite hand, and then that gives you a bit more space to bring it up and back. There you go. Yeah, lean in. Take the leg up. Create the space, sweep it behind. So now we're kind of in twisty zone, aren't we? Oh, you've got to get back now. I'm waiting for you. Okay, so what we're doing, we're going into twist. So this is your left hand, isn't it? Take your left hand around to your left side. Your right hand is going to move around to your left knee. Have a little look over towards your right knee and your right hip, and just notice your right hip. It's going to feel good if it's lifted off the floor. And then take your gaze over your left shoulder, and your right hip is hovering in the air. Just let it feel heavy. Let it feel heavy, so you can extend down that right side. So it's very easy in this one to thrust that right hip forwards and feel tension through the right side. I want you to really think of that hip being heavy. Oh, she's laughing outside. Last week that the chicken started it, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so taking your gaze back over towards your right foot, take your hand back towards it. You'll be pleased to know we're not doing that pose again. Lean into your left hand and then bring the foot back. I need to wonder what I might need to make you laugh. I think it's ridiculous. Oh, I get you, there you go. All yoga's ridiculous, isn't it? When people I've been to lessons where these teachers are just jump into handstand. Oh, God, yeah, just no. Lean in, and we're going to take the leg across this time. So you're looking at your right foot, look down to your left knee, cross the foot over. And again, what I find really helps here is staying on your left side. So you can stay on that left side and then even look over your left shoulder. So it's a bit of a twist, isn't it, already? Taking hold of your right foot again, lift it up, bring it back. So we can take it into a different twist. So again, lean in, extend up, looking at your left knee, cross the foot over. And then the pose you could do is staying this way or twisting the other way. So you're going to turn your belly towards your right thigh. You might be thinking, crumbs, this is a lot, isn't it? And if it is, you could then extend your left leg and sit down. And then your left hand comes around to the right knee and you keep twisting the chest around to move into half wall, which is fantastic. So you're lifting then over your right shoulder. So the fingertips for me of that right hand are kind of pushing into the floor to lift the heart, just to keep that lower back a little bit straighter. So turning again your attention back towards this right foot, lean into the left, extend, and again bring it back. So for our final act on this side, so we've done 3 of each one, we have cowhead pose, if you wish. So we extend the foot up, you cross it over, and then if you, from that last pose, you might know whether or not you quite like doing the next thing. So I'm going to take hold of this ankle with my left hand, and then I'm lifting it up and I'm bringing it further back. And I'm thinking, that feels nice. But again, you might be thinking, blooming heck, that's horrible. So if it is horrible, you slide the left leg out from underneath you. That's it. So in essence, from this position where I've just been, You take the foot back and it drops the knees more aligned, I would say. And then from here you've got a few options, which is hold the knee, place the hands on the floor and have a little bow. And you can just let your buttocks widen behind you on the floor. So moving back to seated, taking hold of this right foot, bring it back, switch legs. Switch done. So, taking your right hand behind, left hand comes to the foot in front of you, and again you drop your weight into your hand, and again push yourself back up. Let your hands rock your pelvis. In doing that, you feel that you've got some space under that left knee, that left foot, to then be able to extend it up. And again, the shin is heavy, let it bring you back. And again, leaning back, extend the leg up, fantastic there. And again, bend the knee, bring it back. I thought you lifted it up there without your hands there, Jenny. I was like, oh, my neck, she's strong. You have no hands. Okay, so we then think about taking this around. So turn the knee in and that shin comes back. So again, really lean to the right side to bring that, create the space. So again, roll in a little twist. So we'll explore that twist more the next time. So again, lean in, bring the foot back. It is belting it down that side. Lean in, extend up. Turn the knee, bring it back. I shouldn't be laughing at you. It's like your body went, no. So lean in, elbow out the way, and I kind of use that finger like a hook. And then you can hopefully then create that space. So there we are. So this is taking it into twist territory. So we're going to take our right hand around to the right, left hand around to that knee, and then you're just kind of focusing then on the opposite hip. So it's come forwards, let it lift up off the ground, but then also equally let it be heavy. Let the left hip be heavy. So turning your gaze again back towards this left foot, take hold of it, and again lean into your right hand, extend it, bring it back. And then we're going to go the other way, so lean in, extend the leg. The easiest to do this one, isn't it? Look into your right knee, crossing the foot over, and again for me it feels good just to kind of stay on this right side. You could drop back, but it kind of feels a little bit more approachable to start this way. Looking then over your right shoulder. Again, open twist. And looking back towards your foot, taking hold of it again, leaning in, take it back, bring it back to centre. And then we think about the other twist. So lean in, extend up, taking the foot back. So again, we can stay in open twist. Or we could consider going into closed twist. So I'm going to take my left hand around and the right hand comes and takes hold of the left knee. So again, you might be keeping this buttock off the floor. I would say if it feels comfortable, do that. But you might feel equally better letting the buttock come in. You might be thinking, crumbs, this feels horrible. So you might be straightening out that right leg and taking it more of a less contorted twist. Turn your body back around and lifting the leg up final time, swing it back, and then we consider cowhead pose. So we extend up, we cross the foot over, and then again straighten that. If you know it felt better to have that bottom leg straight, I would straighten it, and then you were going to take your right hand to your left ankle, lift it up, and then you take the ankle back towards the opposite hip. So knees then begin to stack. If you know your hips, you might be wanting to go in full pose, you scoot that foot back under, but again, you don't have to. Ooh, feels nice. And again, staying upright, or maybe walk your hands forwards and take a little bow over those thighs a little bit. Does that feel uncomfortable on your ankle? Are you alright? Right?
Yeah.
I did do this on Saturday after the rain. It was lovely. Okay, so walk yourself back to centre. You'll be pleased to know. Take the down the leg up, bring it back, slide your legs out, give them a paddle, hurrah, and we'll lie down. So settle down, make yourself comfy. Shall I close this window so you can't hear the rain as much? Although it's grey, we know
It's quite nice when you're in.
Yeah,
That's really a bit like camping.
Yeah, that's true. I used to live in a house that had a loft for me, but it wasn't very well insulated. I used to hate it when it rained. I was like, oh, it sounds so bad. But like the new loft that we're in now is very
I'm just
insulated.
glad it's watering my garden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We haven't had much have we recently?
No. We've got a pond and I noticed it's quite far down.
Yeah.
My husband this morning said, come and look at this, there's some newts and they're mating.
Oh!
I went out to look at some mating newts and they're gone. Have you seriously gone out to look for some mating newts this morning? Clearly you had. Anyway, so settle down, close your eyes and begin to sense the space that you occupy on the floor. Get a good sense of the weight of the head and just turn your head a few degrees left, right, let your head roll. Let your head fall to centre. And just kind of notice what does centre feel like. If you could picture your ears and your nose, would you say your nose is sitting directly between your ears, or is your nose kind of tilted to the left or tilted to the right? And then follow from your head down into your neck, get a good sense of your rib cage. And then from your rib cage, get a good sense of the lower back. Feel the distance between the lower back and the floor. And then follow down into the legs and just notice the direction of the feet, the way the feet contact the floor. Get a good sense of the whole self. So picture yourself again like one of those Russian dolls that you can take one off and there's another self. We visualise and sense the physical presence of the body. And then taking your awareness just down then into your breath and energetic self. So just notice firstly how you feel energetically. Do you feel awake? Do you feel tired? Do you feel somewhere in between? And then starting then to notice your breath in and out of the nose. And start to let your breath fill your belly. We're just going to do 5 of the next few breaths. So just take your time, feel your belly inflating and deflating, widening, contracting. And then guide the navel softly inwards to explore the rib cage. So again, just 5 leisurely breaths. So relaxing then the belly button, starting then to let your breath flood into the belly, the chest, the whole self. Feel the radiance of the breath. So from there, begin then to notice the mind body. That next lie down, and this is where those kleshas sit. Again today, discuss lust and attachment, the idea that, setting goals sometimes can be counterproductive. It can do us more harm than good. We attach ourselves to things that we sometimes don't need, and self-love is sometimes the great thing, and to appreciate what you already have. And there's nothing wrong with needing things to fulfill a role, but to have just the right amount of things to support our lives. So I just want to explore the areas around the body, all the little spaces of our little meditation, to bring us into this idea of self-love. So just starting down at the toes, just notice the gaps between the toes, each foot, picture each sliver of light. And then picture the bridges around each foot. And then into the backs of the heels, notice the curves here. And then the spaces behind the knees, and notice the spaces here. And then spend some time noticing the space behind the lower back. And just for a moment, feel your breath in the belly, and again in that back area. And then moving up into the back of the neck, sense the breath in the throat. Sensing the space around the collarbones, the creases of the elbows, the space behind the wrists, and all the spaces we find in the hands and the creases between the fingers. Tuning into the spaces that surround the ears, the spaces around the eyes, the space in the mouth, through the lips, the cavity of the mouth. And as we breathe in, we're sharing the space from within us with the space around us. And the reason I brought you into this meditation around the body was to bring you into the inner spaces. And just feeling your breath flowing down into the lungs, down into that heart centre, and just picture now your heart beating I'm just thinking about what your heart represents. It certainly represents life, doesn't it? But it's where we feel emotions and attachment to things and to others, and where we feel, the love of a hug. And just picture yourself being embraced by someone that you care for, or someone that cares for you. And as you picture yourself being embraced by this person, or you embracing that person, just notice what you feel inside and where you feel it. Just notice your breathing. So to be loved and to give love, it's selfish and selfless, really, isn't it? But above everything else, it's just a caring thing. It just feels really good inside to give and receive love. Attachment to objects and so on is fleeting. But just remind yourself that you are loved by people that know you. But above all, remind yourself that you love yourself. We spend a lot of time, like I say, beating ourselves up about stuff. The things that we can't do. The things that we've said that we should achieve and we can't achieve or haven't achieved. And it's good to have direction, but life is a journey. And that direction might just give you focus. It never means you might ever reach that destination, but remind yourself that you are good enough. So from here we'll stand our feet up and just have a little rock on the pelvis if you can stand. So don't think of arching and flattening as such, but just notice your feet and just push them forwards without moving them. So you push them into the mat and you'll feel your pelvis tilt, and just do that a few times. Push your feet forwards, feel your pelvis tilt, and then speed it up and just give yourself a bit of a rock. Give yourself a bit of a jelly roll. When I look at this, now every little wrinkle, wobble, and you can feel your skin kind of on your back over your skeleton. I'm making it sound really horrible, I quite like it. Anyway, so I find that a really good way to come to seated after that. You don't have to do anything fancy today. I sound like I'm lecturing you, I hope you know. It's like more that I'm telling myself, don't go for a swim, stay home. Don't do anything daft today, stay home. Right. Stop the thing. I need to stop the video and got rid of Jenny. That's